Anyway, all right, coming up on the show, please come to welcome one and only. This female, wonderful, amazing comedian, she has something special though. But look, we wait to sit back and see what she has coming up. Jump to welcome Betsy, everybody. Come on, everyone, show some love.
What's up, you sexy bitches? How you doing tonight? Y'all having a good night? Let's give it another round of applause for our host, Chris. Thanks, man. So my name is Betsy Speer. That is spelled S-P-E-E-R. I emphasize that because I realize I have the name that sounds like a certain pop star. Hashtag free Britney. But no, yeah, S-P-E-E-R, that's how you spell my name. But there is another famous person who actually has the same last name as me. Little history lesson for you guys. There was once a man named Albert Speer, okay? He was an architect who worked in Germany in the 1940s, and he worked for the Nationalist Socialist German Workers' Party, which is also known as the Nazi Party. But look, I'm not related to that guy, you guys. Like, I don't agree with the Holocaust. I think genocide is rude, okay? Like, we can all agree with that. And actually, if anything, y'all should feel sorry for me, because you know how awkward it is as a teenager in history class when you have the same last name as a fucking Nazi, okay? Like, when I was 16, I walked into history class one day. We're learning about the Holocaust. Our teacher's telling us about all the innocent millions of people who died, right? And how they died in the gas chambers. And then he shows this giant photo of a Nazi on the screen with my last name, Speer, in the background, okay? And meanwhile, all the kids are kind of looking at me in class, and then this kid named Abram Schneider, who sat in front of me, and Abram, he was a Jewish gentleman, right? And so Abram, he turns around and he looks at me. He looks back at the screen, and he looks at me again and goes, "Do you know anything about this?" And I'm like, "Listen, Abram, first of all, thanks for remembering how to spell my name correctly. It's spelled S-P-E-E-R, and everyone always gets that wrong. But, you know, I might be a spelling Nazi, but I'm not a real Nazi." No, guys, I don't think Abram believed me, because later that semester he specifically asked to not be my lab partner in chemistry when we were learning about gases and stuff, so a little awkward, yeah, a little awkward. But I kind of have a redneck name, not gonna lie. My name Betsy, you know. Betsy's not really a name for like a person, right? Usually Betsy's like the name you give like a cow or like a boat. Or at least in America, Betsy's a very common name you give a car. And I'm assuming it's the same thing here in Ireland, because ever since I moved here, guys keep coming up to me and asking me for a ride. So, to which, of course, I obviously reply, "Hey, you piece of shit." Okay? Why would you say that to me? Look at me. I am a lady. Obviously, I don't know how to drive. So, no, but everyone in my family has a B name, right? Like, I have cousins Bethany, Belle, my sister Bianca, my mom Brenda. Our parents did this whole B trend with us because they're a bunch of bitches. Didn't care about humiliating us. And I legitimately have a cousin named Bambi. And that is her real name on her birth cert and everything. And I know what you're thinking. No, Bambi, her mother was not shot in the forest by a hunter, okay? But her dad was shanked in prison by a drug dealer, so it's like the same as the Disney movie. It's like the same thing. And I also know what you guys are thinking, like, Bambi, isn't that a stripper's name? I will have you know that she is also a very talented chemist, okay? She even went to jail for 2 years for making meth in her car. That's how good she is. Got to spend some quality time with her dad, much over needed. Again, like a Disney movie, very sweet, very sweet. But no, Bambi, she legitimately is a stripper. And when you're born with a name like Bambi, I always wonder, like, what on earth could you possibly pick as your stripper name when that is already your real name? Do you just go in the opposite direction and go with like Agnes or Bertha? Like, I don't know, but you know, comedians and strippers, we actually have a lot in common, because we like performing on stage in bars late at night to win that approval that our fathers never gave us. So, what's up, sir? How you doing? Having a good night? Yeah, I bet you are. No, my boyfriend, he's Irish, and I brought him over to America to meet my big old redneck family. And he had some questions for me. He has a bit of culture shock. One thing he was like, Betsy, I don't understand, why do your people eat so goddamn much? And I was like, well, Paul, why do your people drink so goddamn much, right? And he was like, well, at least when we overconsume, we can afford the hospital bill to get our stomach pumped. Meanwhile, y'all just like fall out of your Walmart shopping cart and like a beached whale and die. And I'm like, hey man, like I'm still sensitive about my grandpa's death, okay? That's not cool. That's not cool. But he was also, another thing he was confused about, for any of you who've been to America, you know this. We love waving our American flag everywhere. In every room you go to, there's an American flag. We love waving the American flag as much as Ireland loves waving the flag of whatever country's playing England that week, you know? That's how we feel about it. And my boyfriend Paul was confused. He's like, are you guys just gonna like, do you do that because you forget which country you live in? Like, I know Americans are bad at geography, but Jesus, come on. And I was like, hey man, look, that flag represents the people who died for the freedom of this country. It's about respect. And he was like, bitch, don't give me respect. I saw that flag on a beer cozy, a baby's diaper, and a stripper's nipple tassels. And I was like, who's this patriotic stripper you've been hanging out with? Have you been visiting Bambi at work or something? Like, I don't know. But actually, you know, my first encounter with Irish people was when I was 21. The very first Irish person I met, I was at this bar in Boston, right? I go to the bartender, I show him my ID. He sees that it was my birthday. And he was like, everyone, it's Betsy's birthday today. She just turned 21, right? And the whole bar cheered for me. And then this old Irish man, I think he was like 65 or 70 or something, he came to me and he was like, oh, your name's Betsy. You know, that reminds me of a swing dance partner I had back during World War II. And I'm like, why the fuck does everyone want to talk to me about World War II? So, you know, my first impression of Irish people is that y'all are just a bunch of old perverts. So, but like, I'm not giving out about it. Because obviously it worked for me. Like, why do you think I'm here? I'm living on the south side with my sugar daddy. So that's how Paul and I met. So very sweet, very romantic story. But no, Paul and I, we recently just moved to a house near a Catholic church. And I'll be real with you guys, I don't know much about Catholicism because I was raised Protestant. I'm sorry. But I was always under the impression, at least, that nuns, I thought that they always had to be nice. Because like they're like God's wives or something, right? Like they're God's bitches. They have to be nice. You know, if they show any lip, he's gonna lightning bolt them or something. So I was surprised when I passed them on the street and they were being like real grumpy to me. And I asked Paul, I was like, why are they so irritable? What's their problem? And he was like, well, Betsy, you'd be in a bad mood too if you weren't having sex. Which explains why the priests seem more chipper. Oh. Especially after youth services. Oh. Yeah, no, okay. So our new house though, like when you live as a foreigner in another country, sometimes people will try to pull scams on you. And I've lived in many different places around the world my whole life, so I'm very familiar with this. So like the other day, this guy I don't know, he came to our house and he was trying to sell me something, right? And I was trying to be polite about it. I was like, hey man, like, appreciate the offer, I'm just not interested. But he was being real aggressive with me, you guys. He's like, no, you need to buy this. I was like, no, I'm fine. And he was like, no, everyone in Ireland has this. And I was like, I've never heard of this in my life, okay? Like, I am not some dumb, cliche American, so get off my property before I shoot you, okay? Anyways, I've been Betsy Speer, and that's my time. Thanks very much.